provocative statement. Taken to the extreme, it could sound like a douchey statement, but I think it's right. Um, Statement being, always remember, you're not as good as you think you are. Now, on the one hand, somebody hears that, and for the right audience, for the right person receiving it, people would say, like, yeah, that's spot on, that message. There's too many people that think they're better than they are, that think they're better than other people, that are too confident in their abilities or their moral high ground or in their intellect or whatever it might be. And that reminder to be humble, that reminder to understand that we're all flawed and we're all imperfect, and that um, your mind is giving you an overinflated sense of self or ego. That's a good reminder. That's a reminder that many people need. And if people could remember that, maybe there'd be a lot less problems in the world. There'd be a lot less pain and suffering in the world. And I think that's spot on. But I also think it applies because I could see somebody going the other way with it and saying, well, what about the people that have no self confidence? What about the people that feel terrible about themselves? They don't think they're that good. How does that message apply to them? That message seems wrong to them, right? The idea that they're not good enough or they're not as good as they think they are. That's the wrong message, right? They should feel better about themselves. They should feel almost a compassion for themselves, that they're better than they think they are. And I get that argument, but I think the statement still applies, because if you play out the kind of the thread of it, or dissect the thread of it, if you're someone who has come to this conclusion that you're just not good, right? That you're a bad person or a useless person or you're worthless or whatever it is that's telling you that you should be insecure, that you're not good enough, that assessment of yourself, right? That's the point. Always remember, you're not that good. You don't have that much clarity. You don't see things that well. You're not that great at diagnosing anything, including yourself. So it holds in that scenario as well, because even in that scenario, the point that I'm getting at is that you have to have a very high sense of your own abilities to assess a situation, to determine that you're a lost cause, or to determine that you're just horrible and you're so much worse than everybody else. You're not that good to make that assessment. So it might seem like a little bit of a trick or a cop out, but the idea being like, hey, you're not that good enough to make that assessment. You're better than you think you are in some ways. Whatever it is your mind is telling you, and that's ultimately the root of this statement. That's from a traditional perspective, I tend to be very skeptical of the human mind and the thoughts and the beliefs that we formulate. And I say a traditional perspective because I don't think I'm extremely skeptical. I don't think I'm skeptical to a fault per se, although I might be. It's more, I think in today's world we are either, right, back to the scenarios we're saying, we're either too confident in our abilities or we're too forgiving. We have too much compassion for ourselves. And that our mind can weaponize that. It can use that to justify a lot of things, right? To excuse a lot of things. So my general stance is a very, very, very healthy level of skepticism on whatever my mind is telling me. Doesn't mean it's always wrong. Doesn't mean I dismiss whatever my mind says and I always go against it. It means that I have a healthy level of skepticism against it. And I think that's what this statement is meant to get at. Always remember, you're not that good. Always remember, whatever your thoughts are telling you, whatever you're certain of in your mind, whether that be that you're great or you're horrible, or somebody else is great or somebody else is horrible, or this is definitely the right thing to do or it's definitely the wrong thing to do, you're not that good. You're not that good to know for sure. So entertain the possibility that it could be something else. Have the humility to think maybe it's different than I think it is. Just have the general decency and logic, frankly, to accept the idea that we're all imperfect and that inevitably, whatever conclusion we've come to, it's not exactly that. There's more to it. It's more complex. It's more nuanced. There's something we missed. There's something we don't understand. And embrace that and live in accordance with that. And always remember that you're not that good. Your mind is not that good despite what it tells you.